Call this commissioner's meeting over, and please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon to everybody. We will begin with the minutes of our February 18th regular meeting. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
We've got a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve February 18 minutes. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. First item up today is bid openings for the county farm rental. You have those, Jane? Okay, we have 2 sealed bids here. Okay, the first is from Michael Savoy, offering to rent the 65.5 acres for $150 per acre. Second one is from Lowell Rish, offering to rent at the rate of $160 per acre. Okay, either one of you fellows in the room? Mr. Savoy, is Mr. Rish here? Don't see him. All right, we've got a $10 difference in the price per acre and bid. Does anyone want to increase their bid amount?
I'll do 165.
165 from Mr. Savoy. Is there anyone else in the room interested in renting 65 acres? Anyone? Okay, we have a bid from Mr. Savoy for $165 an acre.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to accept the bid from Michael Savoy at the rate of $165 per acre. Any further question? Okay. All right, Mr. Attorney, how you gonna handle this?
I'd open it back up.
Okay,
He's made a proper bid.
And we actually advertised 215.
okay.
Aye.
Lowell,
Yes.
we've just opened these bids up. Mr. Savoy has increased his bid to $165 an acre. Do you want to adjust your bid amount?
180.
Okay, we have a bid of 180 from Mr. Rish. Mr. Savoy.
200.
200 from Mr. Savoy. Mr. Rish.
220.
We have a bid of $220 per acre from Mr. Rish. Mr. Savoy.
240.
A bid of $240 per acre from Mr. Savoy. Mr.
What was that?
$240.
240? 250?
We have a bid of $250 per acre from Mr. Rish. Mr. Savoy.
265.
We have a bid of $255.
60.
265.
Sorry, we have a bid of $265 from Mr. Savoy. Mr. Rish.
Big farmer?
Okay, you all done?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve the bid amount of $265 per acre from Mr. Michael Savoy. And terms of the contract are for 2 years with the option of a third year upon proper notice. And you'll be given all the documentation and agreement for that, and you'll be able to sign that whenever the auditor has it prepared for you. Okay? Is there anything else we need to do on that right this minute? All right. Okay, we have a bid openings also for the cemetery mowing contract for 2025. And do we have anything on that, Jane?
Just that one.
Just one?
Yes.
Three of them here. Okay, we have a bid here from Mr. J. McAtee for the 2025 mowing season. The list of cemeteries this year are Brumfield Meyer, Campbell, Martin, Mount Garrison, Mount Zion, Shawnee Bluff, Old Friends, Old Orange, Robinson Chapel, Simpson, Union Chapel, Nulltown, and Wiley Chapel. $22,000 for the season. Under normal circumstance, Jeff, we normally have more than one bid, and we'll hand these over to the cemetery commission to let them decide what's a good one and bad one. But in this case, you see it necessary.
Is this the same person they've approved before?
Yes, he.
I mean, sometimes you might want them to have a look in case there's an issue, but if this is the same person they've used and we've not heard any frustration, then I'm okay with you going ahead and approving it.
Okay. What's your pleasure?
Do we know what it was last year to compare, or we don't know?
It's pretty near the same. Best I remember, I think it might have been 23,000.
That's what I was hearing.
Okay. I think you did a good job.
Yes, he has done a good job.
He has.
Yeah.
He really has.
Mhm.
I was thinking there was 14.
I don't ever remember it being that low.
Well, no, I mean, 14 cemeteries.
Oh, there may have been last year, but they review the list each year, and I know that they have put cemeteries on and taken them off, depending on the situation at that time, you know. I didn't sit in on their recent meeting. I think they did take one off, but I can't remember which one it might have been. It might have been the Wright Cemetery out at the bird sanctuary. They may have I think probably took it off.
The Wright Sanctuary?
Yeah, the Wright Cemetery.
That's the one that's on 350. There's the Amish farm.
No,
Is that it?
it's on Columbia, on the south side of Columbia Road, on property that's owned by the bird sanctuary.
Sanctuary used to take care of that, but according to you, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Now, it used to be on our list.
I know, it used to be on the sanctuaries too, because I used to help them do it.
Yeah.
It's not anymore, I don't think.
But it's not on this year's list.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's the one they took off.
You're right, you're right.
And it's so wooded back there, the grass doesn't grow like it does in other cemeteries, you know.
That's pretty shady.
I'll move to approve this.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the 2025 mowing contract with Jay McAtee for $22,000 for the season. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Takes care of that. Okay, next up, the Kelly Van Meter is here for a 144 request. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how is everybody today?
Okay.
So we did some interviews and we've got 3 new hires to get approved to start training tomorrow. It's gonna be Carissa Tony, Cheyenne Wright, and Taylor Gardner. You know, really, none of them's done the job before. They're not familiar with the field of work. They're all young, but they all interviewed real well. So we're gonna hope that we can get them impressed into the job the best that we can. And they do start tomorrow. So, the training.
Those jobs are not for everyone.
No. We kind of weed them out as we get them, so,
Yeah.
you know.
You hired the 4th person on this list?
We did, but she bowed out. She had found a different job that was close to home because she was from Union County. And I guess her husband has some health issues, and so the set hours and close to home was more something that she needed to do. But I did tell her we'd leave her on file, so, because she interviewed great too. But, so she's not gonna take the job.
So she doesn't need to be on this list then for your
The Townsend?
hires? Right.
No.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the 3 part-time hires.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Tracy, second by Dale, to approve the
Part-time.
144 request for 911 department for the hire of Carissa Tony, Taylor Gardner, and Cheyenne Wright. Is there any further question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 3 ayes, James. Anything else you need today?
No, not unless you guys have something to talk about.
I don't.
I got one. When have they set a date to change the dispatching on the 800 going to the,
On the toning,
yeah? have
well,
they-
it should be in March, it
March.
should be sometime. They pushed it back to give every agency time to
Yeah.
get all their radios programmed. So I'm looking for him about any day. But he said early March. The date was kind of sketchy on that, so, but I can reach out to him today too, because,
Well, I heard that EMS and fire, I believe, is having some issues getting with ERS to get
Yes, they
answers
are.
back from them, so.
yeah,
I didn't know if that
Scott
backed you up
Jones had
more.
reached out to me to try to go a different route instead of using ERS just because of the,
Yeah,
not urgency, but the trying to get those radios programmed. And I have not talked to him to see what progress he'd made on that, but I haven't heard anything negative from him that he didn't
Yeah.
either, so I'm not really sure.
I didn't know if that was gonna back you up farther yet or not, or,
Yeah, so far I've not heard anything from any agency that they're not ready, like to hold off or anything, so far, but I'll reach out and make sure, because like I said, I don't want anybody to be left behind when they're getting installed and they don't have their stuff. The only other thing that I might have is Wade Walling has asked to try to purchase another 800 radio for my console and the basement for himself. And I don't know, he's asking for my fund to help fund some of it. And this is not where, I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. I did get a quote from Wade for $4,200. And he's gonna do part of the bill, and he wants me to do part of the bill. So in my belief though, and it's completely up to council and commissioners, I don't see the need for him to be on the main console every day, all day, 24/7, but then, that's just my opinion. He is an agency that we use as in for disasters and things that come along, flooding, and just different things. And he does help out all the agencies when he can. In my opinion though, dispatch should not be authorized to dispatch him out off the console like that, as far as, or the agencies that we serve, that should be the ones that would request EMA, not dispatch. He is trying, and what he's trying to do is basically get away from phone calls, like if he needs to be called out in the middle of the night or whatnot. I am against it, but if it does happen to be that he gets that, I'm not gonna be upset. I just don't see the need to spend the money, even if we do split it. My budget, it's kind of stays stagnant, and I don't really wanna. This year, I'm trying not to take money out of it if I can, because last year we spent some money on different things for our radio, for everybody, not just one person, for everybody. So, I'm not saying to not do it, I just don't think that there's a need for it. Like I said, he is an agency, but it's per needed, it's as needed. It's not an everyday thing that we would tone him to put it's $4,200 as a quote. I do have that on paper, I did not bring it today.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give my opinion today to the commissioners as to my opinion. And again, if you guys think that, if he comes in and says, hey, this is how I think it's gonna be, I'm gonna be a person that's okay, but in my opinion, I don't, I'm not trying to stop something, but I don't think it's necessary. So I just want to kind of give you that information.
Have you had any of this conversation or discussion with your board?
No, because this just came about and we only meet quarterly. So, and I was thinking, I was gonna talk to you, Dale, about maybe leaving it to the board before we make the set decision of the quote he got. And the quote that he got was from our vendor that we use for our radio service, so, and that would be fine too. That's gonna be a 90-day quote. So, we do have a meeting coming up, April?
No, April or 1st of May.
And so if that is where it needs to go to, prior to either saying, yes, we'll do it, or no, we don't need to do it. Because I'm not trying to put Wade in a position that makes him not feel like he's getting what he needs to have done. But on the same token, I don't feel that the EMA department is a department that needs to be in a constant position on the console and dispatch. It is a department we use, but it's as needed or per request. or unless, he automatically, dispatches himself because we got floods. I mean, I do know that he has other things that he does besides have dispatch or an agency do for him, so. But I don't want to cripple his department either. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just looking at the money part. Again, if he wants to fund it all or find funds again, that'd be, but I just don't want to give my money up out of my department. Like I said, my money is not stagnant, but it does have limitations on how much it sits in there all the time for what maybe I might deem for 911.
Have you heard any more on the antennas at the tower?
The antennas, according to Wade, and he probably will report that today, they're fixed. He had that, I talked to you about him having the person come out, that one, 2 weekends ago or last weekend, and they fixed them all.
Yeah.
So they are straightened back up, and I believe he covered the cost of the climb. But I asked him if he had a bill, and he said he did not. So, but that, and like I said, he's on the agenda today, but I work radio till tonight, so I won't be able to come over and see but I wanted to put my information that I felt out, and again, that's just my opinion. It's not something that can't be done to him add to the system. It's not gonna hurt anything. Futuristic, if that was to go to nothing, it could be used, sourced for something else, so it's not gonna be a waste. It's just that I think that there's not a need for that constant, we have our agencies there that we do every day, all day long. So, I just don't think that's a need, but that's my opinion. I just wanted to voice it.
That's all I got.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, that's it, other than that. Okay, Dick?
Yep.
Okay. I'll be over at 911 if you need me. And Tracy visited 911 last week. I showed her everything we did. Most of everything we did. Showed her the basement, the generator, and I was really happy that her and Haley came over to see where, on my side of the street, what we do. So it was very nice to have them over.
It's good.
Did you let her try out the console?
No, but that's always a possibility that I could, Dale,
Yeah.
you're saying that. You better get your butt over there because you'd be the first one on it.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, again, it's always an open door. Come on over and see us anytime.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Kelly. You might make a good dispatcher, Tracy.
I think I might get a little frazzled, a little bit much for me.
Yeah.
I get too emotionally involved with these things.
There's not time for that over there. Okay, we had Bill McDaniel on the agenda for today. He won't be able to be here. But we did have an item of business to take care of for his office. He was going to be here to present a 144 request. And we have it here. As the council saw fit to fund his office for a part-time building inspector, we've gone through applicants and interviewed applicants, and the committee that did the interviewing has made a recommendation that we hire Billy Hughes as the building inspector down there. So we have 144 request here for Billy Hughes for the Area Planning Commission office.
I see
Yeah,
her.
I see.
Yep.
Well, I'll give up and give us.
Yeah, sweet.
You make him do that.
Yeah. He'll get even.
Okay, looks like there's nothing in there. I'll make a motion to approve the hire of Billy Hughes for inspector in the APC department.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Tracy, second by Dale, to approve the 144 request from the Area Planning Commission office for the hire of Billy Hughes as a part-time building inspector. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. All right, Billy, you can start anytime. Okay?
After Jane okays it.
Yeah, you gotta stop by the HR office and get some paperwork done up. So, as soon as you get all that squared away, you'll be good to go. I know Steve Beals is here. Steve, you're probably here for an item we have later on our agenda, so,
I have nothing else.
okay, if you got anything to add to that later on, you just feel free, okay? For the Highway Department, Chris Gettinger, do you have anything to report, Chris?
Not really. One thing, obviously, with the snow going,
You're doing a
we
heck
got
of a job.
potholes everywhere.
Yeah,
Need to just let people know it's okay to call down there at the county highway and tell us where they're at. Because if we don't have a guy that lives in that area in Poseytown, wherever, we may not know they're there right now. We're out doing other things, so, you know, that number's 5981, I think. But it's okay to call down there and talk to the secretary, and she'll write it down, and we'll get somebody sent that way. But we don't always know where some of these pop up at. You know, and they're everywhere right now, we got that, but we're trying to get the worst ones first, so.
they show up overnight.
They sure do. This winter's been rough on the road, so that's all I got.
Chris,
Yes.
in these recent high wind days we've had, how many trees have we had down on the road?
We've had a few, had two guys out to see, what was it, last Friday, when it was windy. Of course, didn't have any trees down till 4 o'clock, so they waited till everybody went home, that way we had to pay overtime to get the trees cleaned up, but that happened a couple times there last weekend, but, and I think there's another wind advisory just come out on the phone a little bit ago. So,
Yeah,
you know, it's liable to happen again,
it's this time of year every year.
yeah, it's just part of it.
Nice.
Luckily, they get in there and get them pushed off the road or whatever, and get back pretty quick most of the time. But, yep, it happens.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Maintenance Department, Josh Jarbo. He,
Oh,
there he is.
All right, upcoming contracts with North, they do all our PM work, we had a 2-year contract with them. We're gonna be looking into opening that up, get some other quotes brought in for a bid process. I think our contract ends at the end of this month. My recommendation is not do a 3-year contract this time, do a year at a time. Just because, you know, if we do go with somebody different, I don't want to be stuck with them for 3 years and, you know, come year 2 be unhappy. So I did relay that to North too, so that way they can change their entire contract and the numbers and give us something, you know, fresh. We're gonna add some different things to that as well. I don't have time to do all the greasing of bearings and belts and filter changes. They're here twice a year to do these, you know, annually, quarterlies, whatever inspections. They can do it whenever they're here. We'll supply it. That way we don't have to pay their price, you know, markup. So, so that's something that working on right now. I've got Resoltech, obviously they did our boilers. We just had it installed, which everything's running good, and it's very hot in here right now, so I'm gonna go upstairs when we're done and turn those down. But they're gonna be another, you know, company that's gonna look into, you know, doing the PM work, which again, they're probably gonna want to meet you guys and do a little meet and greet and whatnot prior to. I think it's a good idea to just sit down and see what they think. So that's that. We also, this is the bad news. I need a lot of money. So over at the jail, washer and dryer. I'm getting phone calls almost every single day to come in and fix it. 90% of the time, I'm not at work. I'm already gone for the day, so I have to come back in and tend to them. A lot of it's been electrical. Last repair we did was on the washer, and it was $2,500. We could get a new one for like $7,000 or $8,000. So we keep dumping this money into it, and it's just kind of silly at this point. Same thing with the dryer. I've bypassed some switches. I've rewired a couple things. It's going right now, but I couldn't tell you when we got the last time we got a washer and dryer, but it's to that point where I almost went to Lowe's and just bought a normal household washer and dryer because it's just become a headache. And that's just, that's down there. There's also, I'll be getting with Jane for some credit applications for a couple companies for the windows, the Lexan windows and the locks. That's going to be something that once the women's facility is complete, we're going to jump in there. We're just going to redo what we can. Instead of paying an outside contractor to come in and do the welding that we need done, probably looking to purchase a welder. It just makes sense. Why not? I've got a guy that can weld. Why not do that instead of paying somebody to do it when we could have our own welder? But those are just some things that just kind of need to tend to, like, as far as money goes. Also, the roof for the probation, like that is, I'm in the basement is where my office is, and I'm getting rainwater. So we temporarily fixed it for right now. It's coming around above Wade's office, the drain. It's coming in through the flanges. The old style flanges are just, it's like steel on steel, so it doesn't really, once that gasket's gone, there's no getting to it unless we tear up that roof up there anyway. So I'll be having a couple companies come in and give us some quotes, see what our options are. But it's just a flat roof on, well, the newer area and then over towards Wade's area. So I don't know the last time those were replaced. They've been patched a lot.
Probably the original.
So I'll probably be looking at the next month or two, having somebody, just a couple different companies come in and check it out and see what we're looking at. But currently, I've got some guys working down in the basement health department. We're patching some holes, and we're going to start downstairs, kind of painting, making it look better. We need a new buffer for the gel and, well, just for down here in general. Clean up the tile work. It just needs stripped and re-waxed. So those are things that they're working on, and then I've got my other guys working on our shed down where we keep the lawnmower and stuff. Structurally, I don't know how much longer it's going to stand, so we're going to start repairing that. Cosmetically, it looks like crap. It's an eyesore, so we're also hopefully going to have that cleaned up, or you can buy us a new shed. No?
Or you can build
New
one.
tractor, something, But that's just kind of where we're at right now. I'd say washer and dryer is pretty high on the priority list, though. I've got 3 quotes. It's something that we should look into very soon.
I remember the last time we bought a washer over there, and Zach, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago to me.
Like 2019, because I was incarcerated at that time.
It was under Joey.
So it's not that old.
Yeah, I know it gets a lot of use, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Just the blankets alone that we have to wash and dry all the time. It's tough.
okay, is there anything we could do better? I mean, do we need a bigger machine or is,
So they come in, there's different models, obviously. You know, we could go with like a Speed Queen that they use at laundromats, and they're like they're $6,000-7,000 a unit, all right? Or we could spend $10,000 a unit, and it comes with a 10-year warranty, you know, on all working, all the electronics, all the driven parts, whatever. That's the best warranty that you're going to come across one. And they're just for a couple $1,000s more. You know, that guy, it's the Commercial Laundry who it is. Just so happens he owns multiple businesses. Pretty much all the laundry stuff is through him in this area, and he comes, you know, services all of the stuff, and comes, I think, a couple checks a year. He'll come down, check it out, just as if we were with the chimney sweep guy. He comes and cleans out our ductwork. So as far as maintaining it, I mean, if we could just get people to like listen to us, like inmates, you know, that would help. But they don't always listen. So, but I mean, there's nothing that we are doing. It's just a lot of it's electrical. The soap system, that it got messed up, so they've been top loading all the soaps, and it's not ideal. You know, we got a soap dispensing system, and for some reason nobody knows how to program it. There's no book. The company that gave it to us, there's no one to answer the phone. I don't know what happened to them, but in programming that, I've got it to where it pulls half of a freaking jug of soap out. So obviously I don't know how to program it. And with that being said, we've been top loading all the soap, and that's where all the electrical panels are. That's what went out last year, you know, when we had to spend the $2,500 for that board. So they're not clean enough to, I mean, if everybody was clean enough and listen, we'd be all right.
Is the one we have now Speed Queen?
No,
Okay.
it's a Fagor. That's what it is.
Oh,
Fagor. Yep.
probably why you can't get hold
All
of
the
him.
parts are overseas, so last time we were down for 3 weeks, Nancy was going to the laundromat for them, so it's just,
Sounds like the Speed Queen would be a good thing, personally. I mean,
there's
that's
a
my
lot more
opinion.
parts of that, but the one that they recommend is like, it's a Japanese brand. I don't know what it's called exactly. I don't want to butcher it, but you know, that's the one they highly recommend. They've used it in other gels around this area, and they haven't had any issues. No service work needed whatsoever. So
okay, is that your most urgent item right now over there?
at the gel,
Yeah,
unless you start paying me overtime.
well,
I mean, I'm just saying, I get a lot of phone calls every
It
day,
needs fixed.
and it is always the washer and dryer.
Yeah. Is it how often do they do the bedding? How often is that done?
Oh, the bed, like there's
bed.
always a block. It's
It's
in
just every
rotations,
day.
like yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
there's somebody
that's-
down there for a couple hours throughout the day, and then there's somebody of the night that comes in and they do laundry for about 3 or 4 hours. So
So what's the time frame on getting one if you get one? Like, do you know?
about 2 weeks out. So
Is it anywhere in the budget that you know of? or not?
we'll make room for it somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we could just make sure they clean their toilets really good and they can do their laundry in their toilets. They do that in prison, I'm just saying.
Oh, the jail inspector loved that.
okay, did you say you had gathered some quotes for new machines?
I do have some, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't have them with me. I wasn't really gonna mention it that much in depth.
okay.
we can definitely have them, we can look at them.
Well, I'll stop over and gather those and we'll look them over and see, try to figure out what our best option is there.
Yeah.
But other than that, we need to make a decision on who we're gonna have do our PM work
Yeah.
by the end of the month.
Yep.
So your plan is to go with a one-year contract rather than a multi-year contract.
Yeah.
And how many companies do you have to choose from right
So
now?
far, I've got just North and Resolve Tech in this general area. You know, we don't have a whole lot of options. This is more like a, you know, it's standard air handler, HVAC, you know, work, doing bearings, oiling them, or greasing them, and belt changes, filters, inspecting the boiler, stuff like that. Now, we won't have to inspect for the next 2 years. We won't have, on our new boilers, Resolve Tech's taking care of those as a 2-year PM. So those won't be in the budget or in the quote for anybody else, you know, because they're already doing it for us.
And they gave us that. That
Yes.
was it, yeah,
Yeah, that was
that's
part
kind
of
of a
their,
perk for them right off the bat. They already gave us.
right.
For that, yeah.
So that's, I can look for a third one. I will look for a third one. And if anybody knows or recommend or wants to put a quote together bid on it, you know, we take a look at it for sure too. So,
Well, if you're aware of anyone else, that's fine. But before we offer this to be bid by anyone, we want to make sure if there's any changes in the language we need to make that right away. Like taking the boilers out
right.
of the current contract because they're under a separate agreement now,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And so let us know when you're ready to go with it.
Yeah. Like right now, what I've relayed to Resolve Tech because they're interested in putting one in. You know what it is that I wanted to add because North Mechanical's contract that we currently are under, pretty much all of that with a few extras, and then obviously the 2 boilers that's going to be taken out due to Resolve Tech already doing those. So, but we can definitely change it up,
Okay,
put it out there.
all right then. So is there anything you need us to do today?
You got any money? No, I think that's good.
I'll have Jane hunt some up for you.
Even better.
Yeah,
But no, that's it.
okay. All right, well, thanks for the update,
Yeah.
Josh. Did Lisa Wett come down? Lisa Wett, the county recorder is here.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Told you guys I was coming back. First of all, I didn't make it to last month's meeting, but I want to let you know last month we completed 1,010 military documents. And today, as of right before I came down here, we were at 490 military documents for February. So we are above what we had projected, so that's really good. I had sent over a couple 3 quotes back on the 18th to you all to get our deeds taken care of. You know, originally we came in at $500,000 for everything, but we want to try to do the phase thing is what we had discussed. So deeds are probably most important because that's what proves that people own their property. So got 3 quotes here. I think the big thing is we really want to try to keep these records in Fayette County when they're being taken care of. Unfortunately, I can only find one company that's going to do that for us, where they're going to come here and do it, and our records aren't going to leave the county. And that is the U.S. Imaging. CSI had came a couple months ago and spoke, and they've worked with this company multiple times. They do a great job. They warrant their documents. So in 10 years, if we pull up a document and it doesn't look good, they're going to go back and they're going to fix it for us. So it's a lifetime thing. The other companies, they're going to take our documents out of the courthouse. If I were to need them, I'm going to have to get a hold of them to get them back here somehow. And one of the companies, IRA, the gentleman that we're working with, let me know that he's going to be retiring. He hopes to be able to continue with the project, but we know how that goes. So it kind of gives you an idea. And I had a fourth quote. I didn't even send it over because, so with the recorder's office, we get a charge for copies, and their program does not have the ability for us to be able to charge for copies. So it's kind of a moot point.
Do you know how many deeds we have?
A bunch.
You don't know the number.
No. I mean, they break it down. Those books are huge. Most of them have 400 to 500 pages. I would say, so the big table that's in my back room, one whole entire side of it is books, and I think there's like 7 or 8 books in each row. And then it kind of curves around, and we've got deeds there too. There's a lot of deeds. And we can't pick and choose is the thing. We can't pick and choose because everything in the recorder's office is permanent. So, and we do know, if you've stopped in, I've showed you where we've got missing books, and that's my fear with sending them out of county. If we weren't to get something back, something were to happen to it.
Do you know what is missing?
I know what letters are missing,
Okay.
and as I get, like we've checked the basement, there's nothing there, the jail basement, canal house. I don't know if they were, I don't know when they were inventoried last, so I don't know if it happened maybe like during the remodel. I don't know how long they've been missing. I've got the county historian watching if anything like that were to pop up with her. But that's my biggest fear when you start letting them go out of the courthouse. What if something were to happen?
Okay, on your quote approval, I know you emailed that information, but I did not print it off. I don't have anything here in front of me right now to even refer to,
Okay.
unless either one of you
I don't.
two got it. Okay, refresh our memories on that.
So US Imaging was going to do 2 phases, and the total investment for all of our deed books is going to be $117,349.58. That's scanning 1816 deed index and 1819 and 1979 deed books on site. IRA, they're going to leave here. Theirs is quite a bit lower, 24,200, but they're going to leave. I don't know a lot about them. And then we have CoFile, and he didn't total his, and I just realized that when I got down here. I guess this is one of the, where when you're preserving something that's permanent, I guess the way I would look at it is cheaper isn't always better if you're expecting it to be around a long time.
Does the IRRIA have any type of warranty?
No.
US Imaging has.
US
10 years
Imaging is giving us that lifetime,
or lifetime.
yeah. And they're all willing to come and speak to us, they said. Multiple counties, I've checked, multiple counties have used US Imaging. They're very pleased with their work. And US Imaging is telling us it'll be done like within a year. So if we start now, we should have all of our deeds done probably by January, February next year. I think we're coming back for an additional, so maybe March, but it would be within a year. They guaranteed us they would have them all done.
And they needed 24-hour access.
24 hour, to my office, basically. Not to the entire courthouse, but to my office, yes.
So the goal is to get all
All the deeds,
all of them.
all the deeds. Then we would have all of our deeds done. Of course, we're doing mortgages and plats in-house.
That's fine.
Yeah. I believe those unrecorded affidavits are in that too, as well.
Now, what do you think about the quality of our scanner?
I'm having to do a lot of cleanup. A lot of cleanup. That's why it's taking so long. So. And they have the ability to use AI and things like that, that I just don't have the ability to do that.
No, it's just a considerable
It
that
is.
amount.
It
is
is.
unbelievably different, but if that's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's in your,
But we're getting lifetime, we're getting lifetime warranty. And it's something that they're gonna be around forever.
right. So then after they get this done, what would be the plan after that to continue the scanning?
So everything now is being scanned in. So every day it's already being digitized.
So you just continue, this is basically just catching
Getting
up.
everything, yeah, all the back stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can hit mortgages and stuff like that later. But typically, like when a searcher comes in, they're only pulling back like 30 years on a mortgage. So I think deeds are your most important. We had kind of discussed that before. It's a lot of money, but I can speak from experience when you're having to prove that you own something or prove that you are who you say you are. It makes a difference to know somebody else has got information for you.
Okay, so you would consider this your phase 1 project, right?
Yeah, that 117 will be phase 1 and phase 2. It's
Okay.
both phases, yeah, on US Imaging. And there are a couple things that I think we should look at co-file for, but I don't know that this is one, because our stuff is leaving.
So you want approval from us today for the quote? And which quote is it that you're gonna?
I would like to do the US Imaging.
Which was for
It is for the
117?
117, 349.58 was the total estimated investment.
And this would be paid for out of the recorder's perpetuation fund?
As much as we can, because we're using that for salary too, so. And we're using it, we're using that for salary, we're using that to pay for our software and all. Got a
So
lot.
have you figured if you have enough then?
I've not looked at it as of today. Do we have enough to get this going? Yes. But if we continue to take salaries out of it, like we're doing, that's gonna be a problem later.
You have an adequate balance.
We got a nice cushion. Not as nice as I'd like for it to be, but. I guess the big thing, remember, North Carolina didn't know that was gonna happen. And that's the first thing FEMA wants, if they're coming in here to help you. They wanna see that you own it. And all of ours are under this roof. So if something happened like that here, how would people prove it if they didn't have one at home and they're safe?
After you make copies of it, how are they going to be able to prove it if something happens to this building?
It's gonna be backed up.
I mean, what?
It's gonna be computerized.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll all be computerized. And it'll be on like 3 different servers. So it'll be on our server and then CSI server and US Imaging server. So we have,
So, like out in the cloud somewhere?
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
as long as all that doesn't go down, right?
Yeah, well, but the nice thing is, I mean, it's in 3 places, so we have to just hope that they all 3 don't.
There's always the possibility.
There's always the
of having-
possibility.
Yeah. not
But we're gonna keep the books, we're not destroying them, we're gonna keep the books. So,
That's good. All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve for Lisa's request then, but as the council decides tonight. Her quote for 117, 349.58.
I know that number's rough, I know it is, but it's just like your washer and dryer, because I'll tell you, I just put a brand new one in my house in 2021, and last year I was buying another brand new one, because they just don't do them like they used to do, no matter what you pay.
It's kind of hard, roughly $90,000.
It's hard,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah, I'd say if you had the money, you know, that's where, if you've got it,
Yeah.
then it's there,
Yeah.
you know, but are you making a 2-year commitment with this, or is it,
He says they'll
you
have it
said?
done in a year,
1 year?
it'll be done in a year. They'll come to us for the first, and then they'll come to us for the second. So that's the nice thing, like whatever we give them our first phase of money, and then when they come back for our second phase of money, the fund is having time to
Rebuild.
rebuild, yeah.
Jane, you got something?
What was your motion again, please? You moved to approve the quote from US Imaging, and then you said something about council. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I want them to be sure, I mean, they're the ones that know, I just basically pending their approval, you know, I mean, I'm, if they're good with what you're doing, they're the ones accountable for that. It just feels kind of, yeah.
It's
there's something
hard,
about it.
it's hard, but the thing is, we've not done it in a long time, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, so.
Well, and if there's I guess there is one question I have.
Mhm.
If the state isn't requiring us to move at a certain pace with this, then this seems like we wouldn't have to do all this that we're doing right now. Is that correct?
So the state gives you the Records Perpetuation Fund, and we've kind of been over this.
To use for this
To
purpose,
use specifically
right?
for this purpose.
But they don't give you a deadline, that's my point.
They don't,
Okay,
they don't.
so you don't have to do it this year, all of it, right?
No, but you better get somebody that's driven to do it while you got somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is the recorder's part
Yeah,
of the
that's,
position.
that ultimately, like, when that money, that's what I'm supposed to be using it for.
Right.
You know. And we can use it for other stuff, but
Yeah.
it is technically for preservation. And they're not gonna come in and say, okay, you have to have this all done in 5 years, because they're expecting that you're doing it with the money that you've got.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Tracy, second by Dale, to approve the imaging contract with US Imaging for the recorder's office. Is there any further question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. All right, you can get started on that. Oh, well-
We gotta go with council first, so we're gonna have to advertise and stuff, so we've still got a couple things, and we're gonna continue to do what we're doing in-house, so. And that's the thing I keep telling my girls over and over, I'm like, remember, like, this is hopefully the last time that we're doing this, so we want it to look good. You know, I don't want you to come in 10 years and it look terrible, because we didn't take our time to get a good quality image on what we're doing.
Is there anything else you need today?
I don't think so.
Okay,
That's it.
all
All
right.
right, thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Jones, do you have anything to bring up today?
Yeah, just real quick. I haven't taken it to my merit board yet. They're the ones that actually do the hiring and firing at the department, but I have an opening. And I've got a guy that's interested. I don't want to say his name just because we haven't made it official with the merit board, but it will be a lateral transfer from another department to become a deputy at our place. So we'll let you guys know as soon as the merit board makes it official, then I'll come back to you guys to make it completely official, but it's a good officer. We're gonna get a good one.
Okay,
That's it.
all
Any
right.
questions of me?
Can we get a list of the road deputies,
Hmm?
name and numbers?
Yeah, give it to you.
Just everybody you got, just give us all the names and numbers. We want the roster over
Yeah,
there.
There's a lot,
Yep.
50 of them. Jail officers and deputies. I'm also waiting, Tracy wanted me to reach out to McCombs for a fence and a gate, and I was hoping to get the quote before today, but he's supposed to be getting it to me. That'll give us the 3 quotes on the gate for the Women's Center, and then we can make a decision, I guess.
Are they all considering pretty much the same design?
Yeah. Yeah. One of them had a swinging gate and a gate that goes along the Sally Port. I think that's our best option, just because one of the guys said if you get snow in the gate, it's going to mess it up, the track, but if we got snow on the back lot there, it's not going to open anyway, so I think the less it has to move is the better option, and one guy gave us both options, but it's going to be expensive no matter what we do. Still waiting on Chase to get back with me, though, and I'll bring that to you guys next time.
Did he think it was possible to use that fence panel?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good then. The others didn't really.
Yeah, the others didn't seem
wanna
they
do
like they
that.
wanted to, but it just makes sense to use that since it's there already, so it just cuts down on material.
I bet he'll be the fill it maybe, hopefully.
I hope. Any other questions? I'll get those names and numbers to you.
Surveyor Bill Mackey? You have anything today? Okay. Mr. County Attorney, do you have anything? Anybody got any mail they want to share?
We got a thank you card
Well, I
from
thought
the
that
Hope
was-
Center.
I thought you brought your electric bill.
The Hope Center sent us a thank you card for the opioid settlement
Oh, okay.
money. So that was nice.
All right. Well, I hope they make good use of those
Yeah.
funds.
They're using it for their LIT, that's Leadership and Training at the schools, the Able Moms program at the Women's Work Release in Jail, and the Hope Center's classes, parenting classes that they offer.
Okay.
Good use.
Anybody got anything else in mail? How about old business? You got any old business you want to bring up?
Yep. I'm going to bring up this ordinance on solar, the 2025-2 ordinance. I guess when we brought it up at the last commissioners meeting there a while back, I guess I misspoke of how I was wanting it to read, what I wanted approval, and I wanted to just be able to go back and correct the errors and omissions of how it was worded, not redo the whole thing. Am I saying that right? Make sure I'm thinking right, because I don't want to make the second mistake again. So, but I don't want to change the ordinance. I just want to go through and wherever it's been, language has contraindicated itself, I want to fix that. Other than that, I don't want the ordinance changed. And the way I kind of feel that when it was brought to the APC board the other night was that they had brought exhibits A and Bs, and that's basically the ordinance and basically tearing it back apart and starting over. And I don't want that.
And that was also, I'll agree, that was my understanding when we did that day, was that we were accepting the ordinance as it is written, and only with maybe a few words here and there that needed to be reworded differently, but it was not the understanding of going through all of what A and B, whatever all that is, and trying to add that too. That's a totally different, that makes it a different ordinance, and that's not what my intent was either, so that's why I agree.
Okay, let me see. Okay, this was the resolution that we approved to correct errors and ambiguous language and contradictions of terms. I don't, myself personally, I wouldn't want to start off from zero and redo the whole thing, no. But if you use Exhibit A and Exhibit B as a guide to go by, then there certainly is. If you take those analysis seriously, there are things that should be considered for change. Now, I know we've got some committee members here that are interested in this. Have any of you guys even looked at that stuff?
I looked at the one you said was independent, and it's not very independent when it's paid for by NextEra Energy. The company's paid for to do those by NextEra Energy.
They certainly are supported by NextEra Energy.
Yeah, and that's
They
the
make-
largest, if not one of the largest supporters of solar panels and windmills. So that's not very independent, sir.
Yeah, you go on the Center for, what's that paper? Center of Economic Development that wrote one of those things.
Mhm.
It is solely, and on their website, solely funded by NextEra Energy. So we didn't feel that that was very independent.
Yeah.
They go on their own website, it says it is solely funded by, in plain letters.
Did you find anything in their analysis that was contradictory to what we should be doing?
There's probably, we understand there's some grammar, there's some punctuations, there's some, like there's some, one of the phrases where we said there, how many things did we end up with? Three. Somewhere in there, we forgot and changed it, it still says 4, and there's only 3. You know, there are, and we're talking about categories, right? We need to fix a few of those things.
And when we finished the ordinance back last October, we told them that there's some language things in there that the attorney needs to look at and clarify. None of us were attorneys. My assumption was that our Jeff, who's working for us already, would take care of that. But I don't know if that was ever done. We was told it'd be done.
But we understand there's some of that stuff.
There's probably some legal language in there that needs to be addressed by somebody that knows more about that than we do.
Mhm.
But the overall, I believe the word we've been using, the overall tone of our ordinance, we felt like was what the community asked us to do.
And just protects everybody in our county, full pro and con. That's what we felt like we come up with when we were done.
Yeah, well, not that it really matters. I don't know who all is pro and who all is con in this thing. In my view, using an outside analysis like that, aside from the staff reports that you guys got, or that the APC got from Bill McDaniel, allows me to avoid getting into a personal scrap. My personal views may differ from somebody else, but my personal views doesn't belong in this. It should be a straight cut and dried attempt to be fair to all interested parties and not be slanted toward one person's view versus the other person's view. What works and what doesn't. What gives both sides at least part of what they would like to see. according to the analysis from the center from, I can't even remember the name of it now, Center of Infrastructure and Economic Development. There are some things in there that are, it would guarantee you would never see a solar energy operation in this county. There's other things that would allow it. Those contradictions, I thought, should be or could be cleaned up by the APC. So it's not my intent to get a big fight started. But we know we have an ordinance that's not perfect. So is there going to be any attempt by the APC to clean it up some?
Well, I'm not against, like I said, look at it, fixing the punctuations and this, but as far as changing the ordinance, I don't feel that's right, because we had a committee to do that, to put this ordinance together, and they worked on it 6, 8 months, a year, whatever it was, a couple years maybe.
It's been a while.
And if we come back and start tearing it apart now, we're basically telling these guys, we didn't need you, you wasted your time. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but that's where I'm at, and I think we need to honor these guys with what they did. We just need to fix the grammar, the punctuation, this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know these guys, this committee put a lot of time and effort in on that for sure.
And they also did their homework and got all of the, information, data, everything. I mean, they're,
We had speakers come and
Yeah.
talk to us about their personal experience with it. We spoke to other counties in the community, surrounding area that Rush County is basically mirroring our ordinance today.
Yeah.
They're redoing their ordinance, basically using our ordinance.
yeah.
So, Jeff, if we can make a motion or move a motion to leave this as is, but fix the grammar, whatever.
So that wouldn't even be an APC issue, that would be just,
That's
you
for
could
you.
tell the APC to advise me to do that, and I'll go ahead and start
Yeah.
working on that, and I'll just clean it up to make, there were some, so, I wasn't a part of the committee, right, and I never got requested by the APC, who's my employer, to go through this thing. It kind of was, this is the ordinance. I'll be more than happy to go through it, and if you guys need to guide me on, as long as I'm making no changes that would actually impact any application, just we want to clean it up to where it makes me comfortable in a legal manner, I'll be happy to do that.
Then down the road, if we found something.
You can always amend the ordinance.
We can always bring it back and change that.
You can
or
amend the
modify
ordinance
it.
5 times a year if you want to. You just have to have a public hearing and have both the APC and the commissioners approve it.
So we would need to make a motion then today to have the APC look at fixing the grammar and turn it over to you to take care of fixing that.
Well, can we just turn
But
it up?
only in a non-substantive manner, it sounds like what you're saying.
Right.
You're not wanting any impactful changes, just only merely grammatical errors, typographical errors, maybe the wrong type of language used, that type of thing,
Yeah.
right?
And then if down the road we found we've made a mistake, we can always come back and modify that, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And do we
Yeah.
have to go through APC to do that, or can we
Yes,
just ask you to do it?
No, because this is a zoning ordinance.
They've
Well,
already-
it has to go through both entities. Now, you can originate it and you can have the public hearing if you want, but it's probably a much cleaner operation if you let the APC do that.
Now this language, or I'll aim this at Dale here. When, there's a couple of probably major contradictions in this thing that people are kind of scratching their head about. One is setbacks. On a field 5 acres or less, the setback is 100 feet from a property line, correct?
I believe so.
I don't remember the.
That's just on 3, on section 3. 1 and 2 wasn't that big a setback on residential. Section.
residential, whatever the county
The
has
group
to have.
we wanted the residential people to be able to do it. And, you know, fully, we wanted them to be able to, the municipalities is the word we always use. We wanted the town of Glenwood or Everton to be able to do it for their own town, right? We didn't feel like it was fair if my home was a half a mile off of my property line. We didn't feel like it was fair to, we wanted the setback to start on the property line. We didn't want you using half a mile of my property as the setback at my home, if it was based off the setback, the home or the property line. We didn't feel like using my personal property was fair, we counted as the setback area. So but that's why we chose to do it based off the property line. Did I say that right? Because the way your current ordinances work on hog buildings and or CAFOs and windmills, you're using someone else's property as the setback and not the property line, which we didn't feel like was fair. Now, we've given in this thing them the opportunity to waive that, right? So the adjoining property owner can waive that setback if they are in agreement with the adjoining property.
Okay, so does it read correctly then that a field larger than 5 acres, the setback goes from 100 feet to 1,300 feet?
I think it's 10 acres.
Pardon?
I think it's 10 acres.
10 acres?
Yep.
Okay. What,
Because 10 acres is,
I think
10 acres was basically if you wanted to do a business, it would take 10 acres of, like if Nick wanted to rent his elevator, it'd take 10 acres. That's running a business, that's not supplying electricity to the world. So that was our purpose.
There are also some rules with the electric companies on how much an individual can produce.
Yep.
How much electricity an individual can produce and put back on the grid. And that came into that math. So so today I own about 300 acres. I could personally cover all that ground and the solar panels and put it on the grid. Duke would not buy all of that from me. They have limitations on what an individual can put back on the grid. So we sized it according to their criteria, basically. So it wasn't just our own personal choices. There were limitations based off of what the local suppliers would purchase.
well, speaking for myself, I would only want to see everyone, whether you're pro-solar or anti-solar, have an equal opportunity. That the owner that would not want to use their ground for something like that today is not going to be the owner 50, 100 years from now.
That's true. You can change it in 50 or 100 years down.
There's, you know, those things seem to discourage more than they encourage. But at the end of the day, whose property is it, and who gets to decide what they do with it? So,
but it also affects your neighbor.
well, anyhow,
Jane, my name is Dwayne Thomas. So what you're thinking to do is Jeff will go through it, and like he said, make himself comfortable to where he can defend this if he has to. Is that what?
That's correct, but I want to make sure these three are giving me proper direction because
That's what we want.
that
That's
is,
why we're,
right,
you know what.
right. That is different, like, so contradictions would not, as the original motion or discussion was, contradictions would not be something I would be looking into.
Right.
If I could interpret both in a court of law, I might bring that to your attention, but that's not something that I would consider just grammars and typographical errors and just cleaning it up to make it in a legal format, right? I mean, I'm looking at format, typographical errors, grammar errors, right? If you're wanting me to look at, different sections and how they might be interpreted, or why is it reasonable for it to be this way here and not reasonable for it to be this way here, that would be outside that scope, as your earlier motion would be. So if you want that to be done, then I need to be given that direction. And that, to me, I would involve the APC in that more heavily in that kind of discussion, if that makes sense. Okay? That's typically where I would advise them that, hey, there's some complaints about this section versus this section. I need you guys to give me your thoughts, because that goes beyond just a legal input. Legal input, I don't care what this thing does. I just want it to be something that I'll take care of in court and be right. Now, if you want, I can also look into ambiguities, things that I think make it look ambiguous in this area or something like that. But the truth is, in most laws, that's why you have lawyers. There's always going to be ambiguity in this thing. Like, I cannot eliminate the ambiguity. I cannot do it. Now, if there's strong conflicts, certainly it's something to discuss. But I kind of promised the APC that I would get clear direction from your guys what your goal was. So whatever we do today, I just want to walk out of here with that clear knowledge.
Well, if we're going to set an ordinance, in my view, it should be as clear and concise as possible, and not be as ambiguous and confusing as I think the current ordinance is. Now, when we were hurried into adopting that before the moratorium expired, we were told, we'll come back and clean all this up a little later. Wasn't that the agreement? Okay.
But I didn't have the understanding that it was ambiguous. I think that was your thought process, but it wasn't mine.
Yeah, I was under the impression we were gonna fix all the grammar,
Just grammar.
this kind
not-
of stuff, not go back and tear it apart line by line and say, okay, this contradicts this does this
Yeah.
does that. If we do that, we've wasted these guys' time, we've wasted everybody's time, we've wasted the APC's time. And right, my opinion is, let's fix the grammars, fix that, the spelling, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Make sure it's legal, that he can defend it, and run with it. If we find something that's drastically wrong, then fix it then.
And I didn't see it as contradictory itself, but if you look at what you're comparing it to, it doesn't look like it lines up with those two opinions, in A and B. But those people obviously have a desire. It shows in what they want. So, I mean, that's what it looks ambiguous, I guess, if you're looking at what they say it should be and then what it is, and they're telling you how you should word it. That's how that was read to me. So if I don't consider those documents, and just to read the ordinance, it's a good one. I don't see it a need at all. I don't see it conflicting.
Well, there's a couple areas in that analysis that in plain language says, look, on page 3 you say this, and page 10 you say that. You can't have it both ways. You need to look at this and fix this. Basically is what it says. So I don't think that's changing the entire scope of the ordinance myself. But if you go through it line by line, do the analysis and compare that to the actual ordinance, there are ambiguities and contradictions. Now, if we're going to own an ordinance, I would like it to be clear and concise, where there's no confusion about what it actually says and what it means and what it does.
This is an existing.
And I'm not trying to be hard to get along with about that, but
Madison County's already using.
Yeah,
this
it's already
existing
already being used. This ordinance is.
So are we, because it's facts.
ordinance. So and other counties are actually looking to basically use our ordinance just like where we got it from Madison County. They're looking to use it just like it is. Rush County is basically looking to use it exactly the way it is. Mr. Wesley, are you involved and are you able to speak to what Rush County is doing?
I mean, Rush County's, so it's my understanding this ordinance, the great majority of it is from a Madison County Area Planning Commission ordinance, correct?
Yeah.
Which was, so I mean, there's some, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but this thing I think was written by engineers, not lawyers, right? Does that sound right? Do you know? We have a clue? There are some legalese, honestly, that are not the way I would have written it, but the problem is it doesn't change, it doesn't change the interpretation of it. It's just not written how I would have written it, right? Now, I don't think that's a problem. I don't. I will tell you, and Commissioner Strong, I agree 100%. And every ordinance, in every resolution, I'm a fan of less laws, not more, right? I 100% agree we should try to make it as least ambiguous as possible, as concise as possible. But the truth is, every law is ambiguous. I'm fighting a Court of Appeals case on an Area Planning Commission case that is one of the most absurd interpretations ever. But it is in fact an interpretation that a lawyer has made, and now it's in the Court of Appeals, okay? That will always happen. That's it. Every ordinance we have is ambiguous. I can find some kind of ambiguity in it. That's why lawyers get paid. If there was no ambiguity, we wouldn't need lawyers.
Exactly.
We just two reasonable people could get along. So,
You guys make money off of ambiguities. I don't.
all lawyers make money off of ambiguity, absolutely. Now you have a goal that you want to try to make it as the least ambiguous as possible. And I'll be happy to look at that. What we could do is, and quite frankly, what we could do is I could go through it and we could say, here's some grammar, here's some grammatical errors, here's some things, here's how I'd change it, here's how I'd format it different. And it may not even be worth changing.
Yeah.
It might not even be worth saying we changed anything at all. I could also, you could give me direction and I could say, here's some conflicts I have that if we went to court, I'm not sure how a court's going to interpret that. But I'll be completely honest, when you're looking for a way to create havoc on an ordinance, you get a creative mind, and I'll never be able to catch every one of them. No lawyer in the history of America. Abraham Lincoln couldn't catch every ambiguity, right? Because that's a lawyer's job, is to find some kind of crazy way to interpret it. Okay. I mean, I've fought these things to where if they would have just taken the toilet out of the barn and not had a bathroom there, it would have scored less points. Or if they would have put it on city water instead of their own well water, it would be, just things that don't make sense, or arguments lawyers make, and you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars litigating that. So I guess the clearest thing to me today is, what do we want to do? And it kind of seems like all three of you maybe are saying different things. So if you can kind of get together and say, here's what I want it to be looked at and reviewed, or maybe you say, here's some specific sections I'd like the APC to look at, and maybe that's something that's done. But I think the APC, quite frankly, is considered it a dead issue, and you guys have asked them to look at it again, and then our meeting last week, they kind of seemed like we don't know what we're looking at. And I want to be able to give them clear direction. And if it's just me cleaning it up, I'll be happy to do so. But that will not, in my opinion, Mr. Strong or Mr. Munson or Ms. Beaver, that doesn't include me looking at Exhibit A or B at all. If we're saying just clean it up with grammatical errors, just clean it up with typographical errors and formatting, that really doesn't include me looking at A and B at all, if that makes sense. So, what's your pleasure?
That's my opinion right now, is just let's clean it up to what we have and go from there. And see, this might never come to anybody need it in the 50 years ahead of us. I mean, we might never see another solar people come around. Not saying they won't, but, and this might be a waste of time now, a waste of time then. So right now, my opinion is, let's just clean it up, make it to where you can defend it if we need to, and we'll move on.
I kind of like to just go back to what it is and just pass it right now with what it is.
Well, so no, don't get
Not
confused,
even
because
clean it up.
it is already
We already
passed.
have
It's already passed. So in that case, you would just make a motion that you don't need the APC review. at
That's
all.
what I would say. That's where I'm at with it. Because I feel like just to change so little clerical things or typo, whatever, those kind of things, isn't changing the meaning. We don't need to drag it on.
What is your biggest fear with this, with considering these revisions?
I don't think we need to, personally. I don't think there's a need for it. I just feel like we need to move on and get it done. Have it taken care of. I feel like the APC board, these guys, everyone has worked a long time. It's not a fear really, it's just a realization of a time we've done what we're gonna do. It's not that we've decided now or we've agreed, but we're not wanting to change anything in this ordinance. We're not wanting to make it say something different, so there's like no point in spending more time.
Okay.
Now, what is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is that that it doesn't offer the opportunity for a landowner or a utility company to have a solar field in Fayette County. That's my biggest fear. It's too restrictive in nature to allow that kind of investment in the county. And
I didn't interpret it that way.
I don't either.
I think they did a really good job of balancing it both ways. I mean, that's what I read.
the other counties that I've visited
Um,
that have operations like this, and I'll use Randolph County as an example. You certainly don't see 1,320 feet setbacks. That doesn't happen up there, and they're getting along just fine with it. So
I think every county's unique.
I'll just use that as an example, you know. So when you have setbacks that large, it leaves very, very few options to even locate anything, because most farms are not that big. You know? Now, if you own half the township and you want to get into that business, that's a different matter, but that's just not the case here in Fayette County.
But can't that setback be changed through the BZA as a, lost my train of thought there, variance?
The setback can be waived in the existing ordinance by an adjoining landowner.
Yeah.
That is in their language.
So there is windows or ways to change that setback if you need to.
You just get an adjoining landowner to
Agree
agree to do
with
it
you.
with you.
Yeah, they can waive,
They can waive
the
it.
adjoining landowner can waive that, they can put it right up against the property line. If the adjoining landowner decides that it's okay with him.
Yeah, and I would plead, and I read that in there, and I would plead that there ought to be a limit to how much control your neighbor has over your farm. Because you're supposed to own it, you pay the taxes on it, you should be able to
You've
use it.
already done the precedence on the solar, or the CAFOs and the windmills in this county.
I mean, it's already, that setback that is in ordinances. And that's part of another reason we went with that. It's already an approved setback in the county
For CAFOs and windmills.
in agriculture.
So there.
And that's where they're wanting to put solar panels, in agriculture.
So
Okay,
it's consistent then
So
with what
it's
we already
consistent
have.
Across all of them.
They can abide by the same rules that we do.
well, anyhow, it's obvious we're not going to get through all this today. But where, you know, can we agree that the ordinance needs a little bit of work of some sort? Can we let Jeff
Look at it.
get his dictionary out and make some of the corrections we know need? And if there's a need to continue this discussion, we can take it up with the APC. Say, we want to address this matter.
It was a, what was it, 7-1 or 9-1, 7-1 vote, it's 8,
6 to 1, I believe.
6-1.
Yeah.
to accept it.
So does that still does not give me direction. Are we gonna rescind the previous resolution, or I can't remember if you called it a resolution or an ordinance, and that you asked, can we rescind the previous resolution, or are we keeping this, what are we doing? What's the motion today? Because if you don't give me clear, and you don't have to, if you don't have clear direction at this point in time, I could always just advise the APC that we're not at a point where we have clear direction, and we just keep tabling it. But I don't want to put them, I mean, the process to me has always been, you're the elected officials, they're not, right? So if you're wanting something reviewed, it should come from you guys. Certainly, they originate some things, but generally, as a general rule of thumb, I like the elected officials to be the ones that are originating something.
I'll move it, we send this to you for clarification, grammar, that stuff, and leave the rest of it alone.
I'll second.
Is that said right?
So I'm looking strictly at typographical errors, grammar,
And make-
formatting.
And make it so you can defend what we have.
Well, that gets a little tricky.
As best you can.
That's why you get the big bucks. But
I'll change, how about this? I'll look at grammar, formatting, punctuation, those kind of things. And then if there's any kind of conflicting language, not from my interests or neighbor's interests or any of that kind of thing, just if there's language that does not, that a court could look at and say, well, they say here you can do this, but you can do it here differently, and it doesn't make sense, then,
Yep.
okay, all right.
Then you would offer an analysis of sorts
An analysis of sorts,
between
yes.
conflicting,
Right, that I think a courtroom, I would have a hard time arguing a plain answer in this issue.
there, exactly, because there appears to be some parts of this ordinance that probably would not withstand a court contest.
Correct. But that's every ordinance we have in the zoning code somebody can interpret it one way and somebody can interpret it another way.
Okay.
So
If
our
you-
motion is you're going to look at typographical and grammatical errors? Okay.
Typo and what?
Grammatical,
Grammatical.
typographical, and grammatical. Maybe say that again.
Any language that conflicts with the rest of the ordinance. Right?
Okay. And any conflicting language.
Yes.
Okay, if he'll do it that way, I'll go along with that. And then we can have another argument about it.
The beautiful thing about this, you can change this ordinance every 3 months,
Yeah.
every 2 months, every month.
Second that.
All you have to do is have a 10-day public hearing and you can change it. So
Yeah.
it can be changed. It's like child custody, it can be changed
And
anytime.
we have a lot we can look at. If you guys want to change some.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to allow the county attorney to
What do you call me? Johnny Attorney?
review the solar ordinance for
Honest Abe, how about that?
grammatical and, what was the other,
Typographical
typographical
and language that comes in.
errors and omissions and such.
And this motion is rescinding the previous resolution, correct?
He didn't say that.
Okay.
Well, should it?
It should,
It
should.
should, right? Rescinding
We're
this
giving
one?
you a set of instructions here.
Yes?
But we have to rescind this one
Yeah.
to change it, don't we?
Because this one, yeah, you want to rescind this one.
Or we open another can.
Another,
I think you've got 2 or
Separate
3 cans open.
can you amend his existing motion to include that?
Are you amending your existing?
Yes,
You're amending your
yes,
motion
yes.
to say what?
To
Gotta rescind that.
rescind this ordinance until we get clarification on
The
this ordinance.
resolution, right?
Or resolution.
Yeah.
And then come back for a new resolution after, right? Am I saying this
No, you don't need a new resolution. Here's my plan with what your motion is as right now. I'll go to the APC, I'll advise them of what you said. I'll create essentially a document and I'll let you know what changes I would make. Then you can decide if it's worthy of changing the ordinance. If it's worthy of changing the ordinance, either you or the APC would have to have a public hearing. You have to give 10 days in advance notice of that public hearing, and you would essentially amend the ordinance at that time.
Okay, so we need to leave this one intact as is
No?
for now.
Which one?
The one we have right now, the 25-2.
That resolution?
Yeah.
No. That resolution, if you want, that resolution creates, what you're telling me to do today is it kind of direct conflict with what that resolution's told me to
Right.
do. Or told the
Okay.
APC to do.
Then can a solar company come in here today since we wouldn't have?
That resolution has nothing to do with our ordinance. I think that's confusion.
Okay.
Our ordinance is in place, period.
It's
end of
already
story.
there.
Okay, that's,
With grammar errors and all.
All you ever did was, and you didn't even need to pass a resolution to do it, but all you ever did was say, hey, APC, we want you to take a look at it again.
okay.
But the problem was, you said, hey, APC, we want you to take a look at it again at this depth. And then we had you, who's on the APC, saying, well, I don't think that's what we want to do at that depth. And so today, we're clarifying at what depth, hey, APC, we want you to take a look at it.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yep.
But our ordinance is in place. The ordinance as these gentlemen drafted is in place right now without, no matter what we've done.
Okay.
That makes me feel better.
Let's leave it like you just said.
You want me to repeat it?
You don't need to say all that again. All I'd like to know is just, what are we voting on now?
What he said a few minutes ago.
Is your original motion still
Yes,
valid?
original motion.
Okay, as I understand your motion. I gave that to you. You got that, right? Jane?
Everyone's got it.
I feel the same way you do.
Okay, I originally had typographical and grammatical errors in any conflicting language. And then we added and rescind resolution 25-R-1. That is still where we're at?
No, they just decided we're not.
We need to take that back off of that. Am I right?
So we're not rescinding resolution 25-R-1.
Right.
Well, yes, you want to, or otherwise you need to give me different direction, because you're giving me two different ways to go.
You're changing your story again?
No, that's the exact story I gave.
Yeah, we
That's
gotta
what I
rescind
thought.
Yeah, okay.
If you, so the resolution has nothing to do with this ordinance. The resolution was just a formal way of you saying, hey, we want you to look at the ordinance.
Okay, I was thinking the resolution was part of the, the ordinance.
It has absolutely nothing in the
That's
entire
where
world to do with the ordinance. It was just a formal way, a formality of you guys saying, hey, APC, we want you to review the ordinance.
Right.
But it also, yeah, it included that part we didn't realize. So it needs to rescind it because it had that inclusive, correcting errors and ambiguous language and contradictions of terms contained in, and then it goes on to say that, those two, A and B, yeah.
So we need
You're
to
not gonna
rescind
compare anything
this
to what,
ordinance.
That's not an ordinance.
Resolution.
Resolution.
That's a resolution asking the APC to review this.
without and not with Exhibit A and B. We don't want that to be a part of that.
I'm gonna say what I think it is right now. Mr. Munson has made a motion to advise the APC through me to look at typographical, grammatical errors and any conflicting language contained within the ordinance, and also to rescind the previous resolution. Is that your motion?
Yes.
I think that is the motion.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
think that is the motion.
I think. I don't know.
Now, by rescinding the resolution, does that turn the APC loose to do nothing?
No, because you telling the APC you'd like it reviewed, I always advise them if that's within their duties to then review. And you can originate it if you want. You don't need the APC.
Okay, well, we'll see how this works. And right now, I won't make any threats about coming to the APC meetings.
More than welcome.
But
It would have been helpful at the last one, honestly, because I think there was some confusion on what the direction was.
well, okay. Let's try this.
So we have a motion. I don't know if we have a second.
I think
Yeah,
Jane
I
has
did.
the motion wrote
Yes.
down.
I
Tracy
second.
seconded.
Okay.
So we're ready for a vote.
Okay. Is there any further question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
2 ayes and a half. Okay.
Officially, that's 3 ayes, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so.
I'm gonna round
Or
up.
you could keep them at a half.
I don't want to sit here and say I don't trust you, but I don't trust you on this, you know?
Well, it's equal.
And I'm
There you go.
I'm gonna be watching, I'm gonna be watching every one of you, and I expect to see something good come out of this. All right?
It will be. It's good.
The next one.
Richie Stevens.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully you don't want mine.
I already know yours.
Are we done with this?
Yes.
Yes. It's moving on.
Thank goodness. All right, under new business. QC Communications has asked us for right-of-way permit to do some work out on Sykes Road. They've provided all their contact information for the contractors, as well as the proof of liability and property damage insurance and everything. They've submitted everything they need for that. So they're awaiting word from us today on whether or not we will approve them doing this fiber optic work out there that involves doing some underground boring and under the road and that sort of thing. So, do you want to approve that?
Should Chris go out there and maybe videotape that road before they start? That way, if there's damage, we've got it.
You certainly can. It's Sykes Road from, it goes from,
50 to the railroad, not quite to the railroad.
yeah. Might as well say to the railroad south to,
West Bill
Is that-
Street.
is that 75 or 50?
50, ain't it?
I can't recall right
I
now.
think it's 50.
Yeah, but it's all on Sykes Road.
From the stop sign to the railroad.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve it. He gets the picture of it.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the right-of-way permit for QC Communications to do fiber optic work on Sykes Road. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jane. Okay, we have a contract renewal also for Malcron, who does work for us. Do you have that?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay.
It's everybody.
They do the refunding of fuel tax for the county. How many years have we been using them now? It's been
3?
3 years? Okay, any complaints about them?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
I have.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve the contract renewal with Malcron. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jamie. Okay, and we have received funding for the engineering services for Everton Water Okra grant. And that came in the amount of $60,000, so we're able to turn them loose on that. Now, you notified find Peter on that. Or did Joe Lisa, I guess Joe Lisa did. Okay, that was for one of the studies they were doing down there on their infrastructure.
Move to approve.
A second.
Okay, got a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve the engineering services agreement for Everton Water. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 3 ayes, Jamie. We forgetting anything? Oh, that's right. Didn't have that wrote down here. I'll defer to the county attorney on this matter.
Again, haven't I talked enough for you guys today?
Well, we have a potential court settlement involving community corrections, and Mr. Bills is here for that. And the attorneys representing the county in that matter are recommending that we settle it. And so you give us some guidance on where we should go with it.
So we have insurance attorneys on that case. They have advised us that there's been a settlement offer, and their recommendation is for us to pass it, to accept that settlement offer and tender that offer. My recommendation to you is to always listen to your lawyer. So therefore, I would request that you, I don't think we need to talk figures or anything. You have all been apprised of what the numbers are. I would just ask that you move on whether or not to tender that settlement offer or not. But your lawyer in that case did recommend you to do so. And I can't think of a better person to take advice from than your lawyer, so too.
Okay. All right. He said that with a straight face.
Move to approve the settlement.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dale, second by Tracy, to approve the settlement recommendation by Norris Choplin is the law firm recommending this settlement. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, Jamie. And we'll have to send them, Steve, we'll have to send them a notification today, I guess, on that. Do you want to do that, or do you want me to?
Is there a letter she sent you to sign, or Caitlin sent that you signed?
We don't have anything like that, and
I'll email her.
I emailed and asked for something like that, and
I know you did, yeah. I'll email
Okay.
her when I get back over at the office.
Okay. All right, well, we've done our part then.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Good enough?
Good enough.
Okay. Is there anything else, Jane, we're forgetting?
Move to approve.
Is there any patron concerns here today? Gary?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Something very brief for me today. It had to do with some work. My name's Gary Brightbaugh. I live at the corner of Garrison and Coltrane Hill. And some work was done by the Highway Department back in the summer. Several culverts were set. A lot of ditching was done. A lot of overburden, and I talked to Mr. Munson. He's in the excavating business. I was early in the excavating business myself. And there's always dirt left over when you dig holes that you usually have to haul off. So I went down and nicely asked if I could get a load 50 feet from where they were setting cans, and I was denied that. And I drive by this house twice a day, half mile from my place, and I watch, like if this is my picture window, here's where they were working, here's my TV, here's my computer. So I watched for 3 or 4 days the whole operation. And I watched, and I asked 3 times for maybe a load of dirt. And I watched as tandem load after tandem load after tandem load was loaded and hauled up the hill half a mile to a house that I'll call Hazel's house. And so I thought, what's so special about Hazel's house that that house is getting all the attention when all I asked was for a load of dirt 50 feet away? So I had him pull the card on that house, And let's see what the proper way to do this. I don't want to say the individual's name. Can I walk this around and show them who this is?
Well, can you just describe, does this person, do you think there's a conflict, I'm assuming?
Yes,
Okay, is that person employed or by the county or something?
I don't know now.
Okay. They
And
work-
is it okay if I take these guys and show them this name?
That, yeah,
Thank you.
make that card part of the record though.
This name at the top.
Yeah. You
Okay.
actually need that piece of paper.
Okay. Okay, so I thought, what's so special about
Can
this?
she have that?
You can't have it, I need
She-
this back.
That's what I was saying, if they get told and they're reviewing documents, that document's part of the record technically.
Okay,
So-
but I need my copy back.
Well, she can make you a copy.
If you make me a
Yeah.
copy, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I wondered what was so special about Hazel's house, and when I had him for the card, I looked up the name. And he lists his name as a Fayette County Highway employee. And so my question is there a process? Was there a contract between the county to haul overburden up to that dump site? Have any of you guys been there? Because there was a big dump site that was going on there that the county and some of the tree trimmers and other people were dumping things there. So was there a contract between the then highway crew and the owner of this house? Or was that just done word of mouth, just between us here out on the crew? I just don't know if there was an articulation, then it makes sense what they did. If there's not, there's a conflict.
So you're asking a question, and I don't want to speak. Typically, you're allowed to come to a public meeting and give comments, but you're not typically allowed to inquire of commissioners, right? Like, they're not on the witness stand. So I appreciate your question. My assumption will be that they are not that involved on that minute of a detail.
They aren't, you're
Of
right.
the highway department. Well, no commissioner is, right? So if you guys want to take his information, have questions for him, that's fine, but I typically, as counsel for them, I'm not gonna let somebody like, they're not on the witness stand, and you don't get asked questions, right? So,
Well, we're not in the courtroom, so I don't consider them on the witness stand.
I understand. What I'm saying is, if they want to respond, they can. My guess is they're going to probably take the information you're giving them today, and how I would advise them is to take the information you're giving them and for them to look into it.
Which we've done before. This happened quite some time ago. But does anybody know, is there an articulation agreement? You know, all the dirt that you dig up here, do you haul up there?
I'm not aware of any kind of agreement between that individual.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me, Mr. President, and I don't mean to be out of line.
You're not out of line.
I'm just, and I think asking a question of that type, I'm okay with it. I'm sure we disagree on that, that's okay. But I wanted to bring that part up because if there was an articulation agreement, then it means something different to me. I wouldn't have much of a complaint if there was an articulation agreement. And there's a bigger picture here, as we know, and that's coming down, that will be brought up at a different time. So, but I had to get some clarity on this information.
It sounds like we are unaware of any agreement as to that dirt on that project.
That's exactly what I needed to know. That was it. That's really all I wanted to know. And that satisfies me perfectly for today.
Now, I can only
Okay.
say, I would be surprised if there was.
I would be stunned, but I just wanted to make sure before I stepped in it, Dale.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, you understand, Gary, as well as anyone else does, sometimes when the highway department has to haul a bunch of dirt and debris, they have to find somebody willing to take it. Now how...
I was.
How this one happened, I don't know, I wasn't involved in it.
Well, I think that was, well, I'm just gonna cut it off right there. I think we resolved our issue okay? And if I can get a copy of my paperback, that's all I have for you today, and I appreciate that. And Mr. Munson, I'll give you a call if you would mind, not mind, because he's in the excavation business. If you could come down and take a look at that site, it will be abundantly clear to you.
Okay. You done with Gary's paper there, Jane?
No, because that didn't make it.
Oh,
Jane can't figure out a copy of your receipt.
Well,
I have to wait.
It came out blank. I'm not sure why. It's an IT problem. Not my
Do you
problem.
have the meeting is almost over. Afterwards, she can use her printer in her office. Are you okay to hang around for just a few minutes?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate your patience.
is there any other patron concerns in the room today? Let's take care of this cemetery thing. We had, Amanda just came in.
I see it. We had the one bid. It's over here.
Okay, Amanda, we had one bid on cemetery mowing today. It was from Jay McAtee. And we accepted his offer and granted him the contract. So do you need to take that back to the commission and review it, or, I mean, there's nothing to review.
I think we'd all be in a group, we've got two of us,
Okay,
so.
so the cemetery commission mowing contract is taken care of. I know that's why you came in, so,
Well, I wasn't sure how many bids there were. so
yeah. Well, I didn't know until today.
Me either.
Okay. All right.
Did you have any questions? But the only thing I was worried about is that we're okay with the one by the sanctuary. We're okay that not being on the list.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the one that was taken off the list?
Gray Cemetery, yes.
Grays, okay. Yeah, you said Bright. That's why I didn't recognize
I
it.
did say it right,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Well, Gray isn't too far from it, but
Yeah. Yeah, the Gray Cemetery is what I was talking about, but I was thinking about the Wright Cemetery.
Yeah, and I knew it wasn't over there, so.
All right, all that leaves is claims and payroll.
Move to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to approve claims and payroll. All in favor signify by saying aye.
So while you're doing that, I'm gonna run out. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine, don't worry.
I guess that is all together.
Haven's second. No. Look. They're stuck together. Just sign and send them back.
Does Mary Gray know that now they're supposed to take care of that, or
Well-
does somebody else does?
I hope so, because landowners are required to care for their own property. We've
These
tried
people are
to,
from Chicago, they're not from around here, that from the sanctuary.
yeah, I've tried to contact them several times, and it's kind of like playing phone tag. So,
See, this is the first time that that place has been run by somebody not from Fayette County. They're all from Chicago.
Find out if it was stuck.
Oh,
Well,
And I'll send it back out.
not true. I will share again.
Oh, really?
Well, anyway, I will.
Thank you. That was before me.
Yeah.
I should have made you guys, yes, I
It's stuck.
Yes. I feel like I'd rather say Boston Josh couldn't pay me in there all the time. That's what I was wondering. That's what I was gonna ask, but I didn't wanna assume. Yeah, that kind of work these guys come out of ours. So do they have it? Do you think?
No, wait a minute. Here we go.
But I wondered if they have something in there for that kind of
That concludes our agenda. Have a second?
Yes, second.
Got a motion by Dale, second by Tracy to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much.